Hi everyone! In today's video, I want to talk about sleep and how sleep will impact your weight. So quality sleep is absolutely crucial for both our physical and mental well-being. But most people don't realize that the quality of sleep has an absolute impact on your metabolic health, your weight, and your food decisions. If you're on a weight loss journey, or you are just looking to improve your overall health and increase your cognition, focus, and output, then this video is for you. So Dr. Matthew Walker is a scientist and professor of neuroscience and psychology at UC Berkeley, and he has studied sleep extensively, but more specifically, what exactly happens to our bodies when we don't get enough sleep. And in his book, Why We Sleep, he talks about how sleep quality impacts your health in general. But in today's video, I will discuss the impact of poor sleep on your weight specifically. If improving sleep is a topic of interest to you, I do have some free resources linked in the description for you to check out. There are 3 key reasons why lack of sleep or poor quality sleep will impact your weight. Reason number 1. Impact on metabolic health. Dr. Walker is very direct about this, but the first point is very simple. The less you sleep, the more likely you are to overeat. Lack of sleep impacts glucose, blood sugar levels, and the ability for your body to handle insulin. Lack of sleep leads to higher fasting glucose, reduced insulin sensitivity, and it requires your body to produce more of it to process glucose. And the less sleep you get, the more likely your body is unable to manage the burning of food effectively, especially as it relates to the concentration of sugar in your blood. Sleeping less than 7 to 8 hours a night does increase your probability of gaining weight, being overweight, and significantly increases your likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes. Studies have found that there are far higher rates of individuals with type 2 diabetes that reported sleeping less than 6 hours a night. In order to prove that there actually is causation between lack of sleep and weight gain, in other words, it's the lack of sleep that causes the weight gain, there have been controlled studies done with healthy adults who had no existing sign of diabetes and were limited to 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. And they compared their eating habits to those same adults when they were fully rested. And they found that when these participants were sleep restricted, their bodies were 40% less effective at absorbing a standard dose of glucose compared to when they were fully rested. And when those participants were restricted to 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, the cells of those people were less receptive to insulin. In their sleep-deprived state, their cells were stubbornly resisting the message from insulin. Reason number 2, compromised decision-making and impulse control. So this point might be somewhat intuitive, but obviously the less you sleep, the less cognitive brain power you have, which leads to a harder time with decision-making and impulse control. You are more likely to make poor food decisions when you are tired, just like how you're more likely to make poor food decisions when you are stressed. The more stressed or sleep-deprived you are, the part of the brain associated with the emotional flight or fight response, which is the amygdala, supersedes the activity in the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is associated with thoughtful, rational thinking. So when it comes to sleep, there have been a lot of controlled studies done and referenced, where they took a group of participants that got sufficient sleep, which means at least 8 hours a night, and they actually tested what those people's food decisions were after a full night of sleep, and also what happened to them when they were in a sleep-deprived state, which is defined as 4 hours a night in bed. They found that those individuals that were sleep deprived did end up consuming more food. They also found that people who regularly sleep 5 to 6 hours a night on average end up consuming an additional 70,000 calories a year compared to people who were well rested. But it's not just the physical quantity of food that is impacted by sleep, it's also your food decisions and what you eat as well. So when people are sleep deprived, they end up craving and binging sugary foods, hard-hitting carbs like pasta, cereal, bread, chips. This intake is increased by up to 30 to 40% just by reducing sleep by a few hours a night. They also tested protein-rich foods, in other words, just meat, eggs, that type of stuff, and they found that protein-rich foods were less effective. So this means that your body is more likely to crave carbs when you are tired, much more likely to crave carbs than crave a piece of chicken breast. And they actually studied the brain activity between sleep-deprived individuals and well-rested individuals and found that the area of the brain associated with thoughtful decision-making, again, which is the prefrontal cortex, was suppressed, leading to more primitive pattern of brain activity without deliberative control. This is identical to the stress eating situation that I mentioned earlier. Very sugary, carb-rich, and unhealthy processed foods and packaged foods just become more desirable to your brain in a sleep-deprived state. A full night of sleep repairs the communication pathways between deep brain areas that unleash hedonic desires and higher brain regions whose job is to suppress those cravings. So the right amount of quality sleep every night can restore impulse control and put brakes on excessive food consumption. Sleep also calms down the body's nervous system and gets the body out of that flight or fight mode. And when your body is in that flight or fight mode, your body's cortisol levels do increase. So obviously the ultra-processed food environment that we live in nowadays doesn't make it easy, and they are external triggers, but these triggers still do impact our health. Another study found that even when you do lose weight successfully in a sleep-deprived state, they have done studies to show that those bodies, when they were sleep-deprived, actually ended up burning more lean muscle mass as opposed to body fat. The body actually goes into a protective state and wants to hang on to muscle when it's sleep deprived. So if you're on a weight loss journey, but you're sleep deprived, yes, you may be losing weight, but you actually might be losing muscle rather than fat. Reason number 3 is the impact on your hunger hormones. So when you don't get enough sleep, which is defined by 7 to 8 hours a night, your body's hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are impacted, which means that your appetite will be impacted as well. When leptin and ghrelin are imbalanced, it can trigger an increased need to eat and overeat. This means that your ability to control your own hunger is impacted. So it is very likely and possible that you would be more ravenous and have more hunger pangs and overall increased appetite when you haven't slept or rested enough. So when leptin is suppressed, and leptin is the hormone that tells your brain that your body is full, and ghrelin is elevated, ghrelin is the hormone that triggers your appetite and tells the brain that the body is hungry. In other words, a sleep-deprived body is a hungry body. Lack of sleep can also lead to increasing levels of endocannabinoids in the body, which are the same compounds that cannabis releases, and hence the term weed munchies, which is the state your body actually goes into naturally when you don't sleep enough. If you like this video today, please do give it a thumbs up. If improving sleep is a topic of interest to you, I do have some free resources linked in the description for you to check out. Be sure to stay tuned for upcoming videos where I will be doing a video series on sleep, how to optimize your sleep for both physical and mental health. Sleep is something that we do provide guidance on in our one-on-one coaching for weight loss. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.